What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here. Delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. Sign up for my newsletter over there. Get a free graphic novel, and hopefully you'll start enjoying my work, which is, trying to do homage towards these old comics as much as possible, because I think we've lost a lot of our fun, heroic storytelling in the culture these days, and I want to bring that back. This is Jack Kirby's OMAC. So this is his work for DC in the 70s after he quit Marvel. And there's a nice introduction about how this book came to be. And this is a futuristic sci-fi story where he creates a superhero, OMAC, One-Man Army Corps is what it stands for, who is linked with a satellite which beams powers to him, basically. And these are basically sex bots as a factory. And the first story it shows his origin and how this World Peacekeeping Association, which is very creepy, they actually take off their faces and spray themselves with these anonymous blank faces the Global Peace Agency, it's called, in order to be anonymous, because we could be of any nation. And they go around enforcing peace. Now, they are benevolent, which is weird because they're so creepy, and it is such a, Big Brother situation, especially with this satellite and all that. But oddly, OMAC is actually a positive thing, and I think that's what differentiates this from every other story of this type. Usually these peacekeeping associations are doing evil, and the Big Brother ends up being evil because, of course, that seems to be how it works in real life whenever we get these surveillance situations. I mean, we're dealing with a lot of this stuff with social media now. And a lot of these concepts Kirby was putting into here are really coming to fruition with, realistic sex bots and things like that. I don't know that they're going to blow up in people's faces like they did in this issue, but really neat stuff. Of course, the designs are out of control. The Brother Eye satellite is ridiculously awesome. And the way that OMAC looks is of course, almost Greek godlike in the way that he operates, which is very cool. And there's just a number of different stories. You see that he's settled into his style at this point where he does his splash page right here, and then he does his double splash to get into the story. He also takes that 60s style, which was in the early Fantastic Four, where each part of the comic had its own chapter, so you get several chapters with a heading that kind of in here talks about futuristic concepts and really talks about the conceptual elements of things here that he's doing. You get the beautiful Kirby machinery drawings in here, and this is inked by a fellow named D. Bruce Berry, and he is as it says, a longtime participant in the world of comics. He began his brief inking career assisting Mike Royer on Jack Kirby's prolific pencil work for DC in the 70s. Mike Royer's the other inker here. And so he took over some of this stuff. And he also did a lot of lettering in the book, too, which is kind of interesting. So, beautiful art. I think the concepts here are some of Kirby's finest. He's really hit his perfect stride within this book right here. And in this one, rich people are so rich that they can even rent out whole cities. And there's a guy who has done so, and then he wants to kill OMAC, of course, because he doesn't want to be interfered with. You get these sketches in between the in between the books here. I guess I should show. This is a hardcover version, and you get this this print on the. It's this little soft, light hardcover that DC does a lot of the times for their books. The paper quality is it's a step above newsprint. And I don't love this. I like matte paper better than I do glossy paper in general. But this is a little too thin for me, even though it does give the feel of the original 70s comics. Here, look at this monster he's fighting. Oh my gosh. Such cool Kirby design. And this is, he's in a VR realm where it's basically movies give yourself... are injected directly into your brain, and you get to be the protagonist. So it's super immersion. It doesn't actually have anything to do with the story, though, on that level. He just gets pulled out of it and then goes on his mission. So very, very bizarre. And he goes and is sent to take down a dictator at this point. You see this ridiculous missiles coming at him and stuff like that. This is just shoots out of a chair in his auto eject sequence, and his chair flies around. This is peak silly comics, which I love, absolutely love. Fun stuff. And so he deals with this dictator for a while. Here's the Brother Eye again in a story. And I think it's a 3-issue story with this dictator who then escapes and then sends some monster killer off of him. And it's this big crab, spidery-like creature. Again, just beautiful art, tons of action, absolutely fun, silly comics. The next one goes into a very creepy concept, which is people taking their brains out of old bodies and buying young bodies on the marketplace and trying to live forever at the expense of the young people below. You draw some beautiful people here. So I love the Kirby look. You get the round faces that he always does. Some nice machinery and another missile here. And this outfit basically is doing their thing. And this is a 2-part story. So he's settling into 2- and 3-part stories over the course of this. There's 8 issues overall. And really nice cover here. There's some genetically modified people that they use to scare people off from their criminal compound, and we're still in the storyline about the young people bodies, and eventually, of course, OMAC rescues the young people and stops the criminals. The last storyline is the Ocean Stealer, and this is like uber silly James Bond villain at this point, where this guy's got this like device, and he sucks up all the water into a little cube. And he's going to steal all the water on all of planet Earth. It is absolutely ridiculous. And, of course, OMAC goes after him and goes into his secret base, where he's got a couple of his daughter and a guy who wants to marry his daughter, I guess, in there. And OMAC deals with them. Now, this was meant to be continued, and you see this actually at the beginning essay on this. It wasn't supposed to end right here, but Jack Kirby quit DC and went back to Marvel at this point, and so they weren't going to continue this without Kirby. And so OMAC starts to escape, and what's interesting about this storyline is he's actually got his powers removed here because he's got an evil mastermind who's done that. So he's working on his own, and then the Brother Eye is trying to find him and help him from the sky, but is having trouble. And so it ends up with Brother Eye versus this evil mastermind in the last 3 pages, and the mastermind actually is sending asteroids at Brother Eye, and it looks like Brother Eye almost blows up. And then apparently this last panel was added and changed and was not done by Kirby. I don't even know who did it. It's just just lettering effects, so there's not really much there. But it implies that their secret base down below was destroyed, and it's like, is this the end? And that's it. So clearly they just wrapped it up, even though there isn't really a wrap-up, and it leaves a mystery as to whether any of this actually survived and what happens from this point forward. So they just kind of quickly dispensed of the book, which is kind of a sad way for it to end. This was a really cool concept. I read Devil Dinosaur recently, which was a wildly different concept, but also just as eminently pulpy, and that was really cool. But this really hit my sci-fi spot and makes me super inspired. This is cool stuff, and some of the best of comics right here. This is really peak Kirby. I frankly enjoy this more than probably his Thor and his Fantastic Four, which I know might be sacrilege, but dang, this is cool. 10 out of 10. This version is a hardcover version, and there's a whole line of these DC hardcovers, and some of them are getting a little bit hard to find. I don't think this is that expensive yet, but it's also contained within the Kirby Omnibus, which they released. It's called Kirby Bronze Age Omnibus, and then I believe there's a trade paperback version. So it's very, very easy to find this material in some form or another, and well worth the read. This is just comics at its finest. Hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We'll be back soon.